Good morning, afternoon, or evening, ladies, gentlemen, and everybody in between. This is your host, Paul, coming at you once again. I have been given not only the ability to climb to the top of the stairs without getting pushed off of them, but I have been given the crown for tonight, and I'm so happy to be hosting. We've been planning this for a little bit, but it is finally time for me to have full control over my co-host, and that is
Hello, everyone. Rick, and got some exciting stuff to talk about today.
Yeah, we absolutely do. This is going to be a Paul and Rick episode. We've been talking about this for a while, but for some reason or another, it's always been just various cooperations and guest stars and things that we couldn't get the scheduling right for. But this is the day. Finally get to talk about some things that we've been wanting to chat about, stuff that we know a lot about, stuff that we don't know anything about, but nobody can stop us this time.
That's
But
right.
as always,
The
this is
inmates
the
running the asylum today.
Yes, running the asylum. But as always, this is the X Button podcast, Xscape Gaming's podcast that hosts, goodness gracious, every Friday from 10 a.m. onwards, God willing. Available in the YouTube channel Xscape Gaming, as well as most audio services around the world, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and the like. You can find links in the RSS feed at tinyurl.com/Xscape Gaming. If you enjoy our show, give us a like and subscribe. I wanted to mention that how often people get slash and backslash mixed up, and it's very interesting, especially in the professional world now, how many people just don't know the difference between the two of them.
I'm kind of a
Anyway,
computer nerd, and I can't say much because I think a slash is where it faces to the right, but I'm not actually sure either.
the slash that we have on our URL is a regular slash, and backslash is the one that literally nobody uses,
Okay,
um, except for Shulk in Smash Bros. So
gotcha.
anyway, we're going to be talking about the stuff that we've been playing today. Rick, do you want to just come out the gate swinging here?
I, Rick Davis, in full mind and body, can say I played Hollow Knight Silksong. There
How
it is.
does it feel? Like this has been what, 10 years I think we've been hearing. One of the
Sure,
stretch
it
goals was
sure
that it
feels
would
like it.
be ported to the Wii U.
Was that? Was it really? I actually didn't know that.
It was.
I mean, Silksong did actually start as originally a stretch goal, not Silksong itself, of course. It was
Right.
just an expansion with Hornet, but it just kind of kept growing to the point they decided to release it as a full separate release. Um, it genuinely feels surreal. Like I don't know, were you around when like Halo 3 came out and it was like this doesn't feel real. Like this is
I
weird.
was. That was actually the first one that I got, I think, on release, and I was
Okay.
really feeling the palpitations of the world for
hmm
that one.
Yeah, it's like that. It's just like, man, this doesn't feel like it was ever actually going to happen. And here it is.
Yeah, it was right up there with like Half-Life 3 and all of the other big boogeymen of the gaming world that
hmm
was like, this is never actually going to come out. It's just something that they keep saying, and then they're going to dump
hmm
money in for taxes and then disappear one day.
hmm But
But man, we're
yeah,
here.
I mean still obviously still very very early in it, but ooh, ooh it's good. Oh, it's good.
Is it
It's
really? So it
it's
lives up to everything that people have been waiting
I
for.
I mean it's hard to say that. I haven't gotten anywhere in it yet, and it sounds as though it's probably going to be longer than the original Hollow Knight, which is already
Really?
itself a pretty meaty game.
I was
Yeah,
gonna say.
it has more bosses. They and more enemy types. In that 2 weeks ago, I think it was when they had the
They
release
did
date
have those
trailer.
stats. Yeah, that's
It
right.
said I think 200 enemies. The original Hollow Knight had 170, I believe is the number, and that was after all the updates.
Mhm.
And then it said more than 40 bosses, and the original Hollow Knight ended with 40 bosses exactly, I believe, and a couple of which were not even like in like story campaign. They were in like the pantheons.
Right.
So this is looking like a pretty meaty game. And I don't know if you had a chance to read what Jason Schreier had posted about kind of what took so long. They
Mhm.
basically just kept saying like this, or whoever the one of the founders of Team Cherry was, basically said like he kept designing bugs that were like, oh, those are kind of cool. Let's find a way to put them in there and new bosses and new NPCs and stuff like that. And it just and eventually he actually said, I have to stop doing this because we're never going to release this game if I keep doing this.
My gosh. I don't know how he can function in that process. I'm one of the people that like, especially because it was a Kickstarter project,
Mhm.
I was kind of from the outside going, "Oh my goodness, how can they do this and not have any communication with the actual people that helped back this game after a decade?"
Mhm.
But at least they're like following through with all of the people that actually did do the
Mhm.
stretch goals and stuff, and they're giving all of that
Mhm.
stuff. It's not like they took the money and ran. But man, just to imagine like the pressure as the game devs feeling like, oh man, they're gonna hate us so much, but we're working on this. We really are.
Mm. That said, I mean the recent news about how well the game has sold in the last like 2 years, the original Hollow Knight, I mean, um, has certainly helped. I don't know if you did you see that number? It
I don't think
it's
I did.
it sold something like 2.5, which is very good for an indie
Oh
game,
yeah.
right? It sold something like 2.5 million units in the first 3 or 4 years. It's sold like 12 million in the last like two. I could not tell you why that is, but it sold
No,
like
I believe that
fire in the last couple years.
it
And
went. It's one of those few games that was able to go from cult classic to like
mm,
actual mainstream hit.
hmm
I mean, shoot, selling more than some of the Mario games. I'm trying to remember all of my stats right now. Of course, Alejandro's not here to join us and
right.
actually give me that information, but we're realizing that half of the the power of the X button is Alejandro's encyclopedic level of information that he could pull upon at any point. And I just go by vibes. So it is amazing to actually see the level of success that Hollow Knight was able to accomplish just from the first release. And he, like, I think y'all saw, I shared that post where they put it on Reddit of like when the
Mhm.
game was first getting announced and stuff, and everybody was like, "Oh gosh, another 2D silly cartoony Metroidvania. This one's gonna die on the vine. There's no chance for this game." And here we are 10 years later, we're getting
Yeah, yeah, I saw that post. I mean, the one that you posted. I mean,
yeah.
I don't know how. I assume I know which trailer that was. It was obviously a screen grab. It wasn't like the link to it.
Mhm.
I assume I know what trailer that is, and I don't know how anybody could watch that and go, "This just looks like another generic one." It's like, first of all, Hollow Knight's art is gorgeous. Like, I mean, just a level above almost everything
I was
else.
definitely not. I didn't have my finger on the pulse as well with like the indie scene at the time, but I don't remember anything looking quite like that. There was a lot of stuff out there even then, and even
Hmm
more so now, but I still don't think there was anything quite like Hollow Knight.
Yeah.
Maybe like Nine Souls or something is the
N-
only closest
Nine
thing.
Souls would be the closest. I would agree with that. That said, I would still put Hollow Knight ahead of it.
Just
But
for
Nine
striking
Souls
visuals,
is
yeah.
gorgeous too, so that's not an insult to Nine Souls.
No, yeah.
Um,
Nine Souls is just more of an attempt at the bold colors in every
mm,
direction, not
mm,
just very specific focus.
mm,
And they're two very different vibes as well.
mm.
The real Superman to Batman comparison there
Right,
on those two.
right.
But yeah, I really, and this is as somebody that didn't enjoy Hollow Knight as much as a lot of other people did, which I'm hoping to turn that around as time goes on. It was just a very specific kind of game that I wasn't really one prepared for.
Mhm.
And I do still wish that there was like maybe a little more accessibility to turn it into less of an extremely difficult game. Um,
Well, if I can slightly answer that from the
yeah, go ahead.
beginning, for the very early hours of Silksong, right? Okay, so two of probably the biggest criticisms level, even by the biggest fans towards Hollow Knight, was number one, the way its map system works, which is you had to buy a map or you didn't get it, and then you
Right.
drew it in as you went, right?
Yeah.
And number two, that on top of that, after that point, you had to use one of your, they're called notches. You think of them as like your equipment slots, right? For the compass, which lets you see where your map is.
Hmm.
Would you like to know how Team Cherry chose to address that criticism?
I would like to know.
Uh, by doing the exact same thing, except now you also have to buy the ability to draw the map.
Ooh.
and yeah, so like the first time I found the map person, now to be fair, she may have been in the first area, but I don't think she probably shows up till the second one.
Hmm.
I had to buy the map for the first area, the map for the second area, and the fact that I could buy both tell me that's probably the first time she shows up because usually you would find them and they would have the one, but
Yeah,
then
they only have the one
they'd be
spot.
back at the like the main city from the older ones, right?
Yeah.
Um, then you had to buy the quill, which is what lets you draw it in. which I could be wrong about this. I don't think you had to buy that for the original Hollow Knight. I'm pretty sure you just had once you had the map, you just started drawing it in. Um, and then you had to buy the compass, which you still have to equip. And on top of that, the notch system looks to be a little different here, where you have, let's say, yellow notches, red notches, and blue notches. That might not be exactly right, but kind of, bear with me here. So
Mm.
not only do you have to still take a spot for your compass, you have to take a specific kind of notch for your compass now. So basically, they said, hey, you want to criticize this? Yeah, F you. We're gonna make it way worse now.
Oh, that sounds fun. I'm sure that's not going to fuel discussions for another decade.
Now, obviously, the compass and the quill you only have to buy one time.
Right.
You will have to buy the map each time you're in a new
But it still
area.
takes an equipment slot, doesn't it?
It does still take an equipment slot, yes. Not the quill, just the
Right,
compass.
right. That's what I meant.
But yeah,
Um, Man, I mean, bold of them to choose it, and it definitely does
and
make a
double
very
down on it. That
specific.
at that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a very specific choice, and it does evoke a very different feel that you are exploring this region, and you are figuring it out. I mean, it's very like Wind Waker. You have to buy the map and
Hmm.
work that out. Which, oh gosh, young Paul was such an idiot, and he would sometimes he thought that the fish were scamming him, so he wouldn't actually buy the maps, and he'd just suffer. So
Man,
because they would
you were
always
really forging the fires of hell, weren't
they were starting off and going shmee, and I was like, that sounds like somebody who's gonna lie to me. I'm not gonna do that.
you?
And then way later, I was like, oh shoot, I guess I do need to buy that, and realize, oh, this is way easier. Who would have thought? Oh, I was such an idiot. But I want to say that I'm glad they stuck to their vision because usually that leads to a much more
Mhm.
striking product. Um, I'm annoyed that I'm going to have to suffer through it whenever I finally play the game, but I mean that's part of the adventure aspect of it all. And rewatching some videos that like what I will love to do is when I don't get something, I watch a video essay from somebody who really does and is like super passionate about it. And almost like just through osmosis, it makes me care a lot more.
No,
So I
I get that.
watched like
Yeah, I definitely understand that.
I think I watched at least one big lore breakdown of like the storyline and all the endings and stuff. Because like at this point, I kind of know what happens, just by virtue of like the DLC existing. And it's like, hey, this crazy light moth is in there. I wonder if that's a big deal.
But this is
uh,
what I had said it not last week's the weeks before episode when we had Cog on.
mhm.
Um, you would not know it, but the Lord of Hollow Knight is remarkably deep and complex.
Oh, it's insane. And like I had a feeling because I'm going through it and you're finding like journal entries and all these
Mhm.
other NPCs know each other and they'll
It's all
mention
cryptic
it.
soliloquies,
Oh,
which is part of the problem.
it's all the time. And then especially as you progress and everybody kind of gets more insane, it's
Hmm.
like trickier to figure out who's on your side, who's not,
Hmm.
who's secretly some kind of badass, who's
Hmm.
definitely going to betray you and stuff. It's much harder to guess than you would think. And I definitely appreciated it. I think part of it also was like the aesthetic of bugs. I was like, I'm not really
Hmm.
feeling that.
Oh,
But I
really?
will say the
I
art
love that
style
actually.
does it all of the favors. It makes
Hmm.
perfect sense. I love the concept of like this whole world is like there's knights and lords and kings.
Hmm.
Um, but I think I watched Ants too young, and it just kind of ruined the concept of insects for me forever. Um, it's terrified the hell out of me at times. But at the same time, yeah, in any case, I'm really excited for it. I'm so glad that it exists for all of my friends that have been waiting for it for a decade, including you.
Hmm.
And I hope to one day jump in myself feet first and just see if it's really what I'm looking for. Um, I heard that there's a few things that they've changed about it compared to Hollow Knight. Like you have a very specific goal from the start, as opposed to Hollow Knight, where
Yes,
it's just kind of
yeah.
go.
Now, I mean, obviously, having not played far enough, I can't say how much it veers from this, but pretty much as soon as you start, Hornet, which is who you're playing as,
Mm.
uh, it opens with a cutscene where she's like captive, right? And so she's dropped into this new kingdom, which is called Farloom. So where this takes place in terms of it has to be before the original Hollow Knight in some way because one of the endings couldn't happen with this
Didn't
happening.
they say it takes place after, and that one is just confirmed as non-canon?
Oh, did they say that? I didn't know that.
I
I
that is entirely from watching that one lore video where they just said it must do this because one of them is considered non-canon afterwards, but
mm,
because we don't know anything about what happened to the original little guy, we
the
don't
night.
know if which of the other
Mm.
endings it could have been because they were all very different.
Yeah,
Uh,
there's specifically it's two endings, but it's basically variations of one another.
okay,
That it's she doesn't die, but she couldn't be in a new area. She's
right. She's
trapped inside the
trapped.
black egg. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Okay.
So I guess spoilers for Hollow Knight. But
I
if
mean
you
that
didn't play
one
it by
of
now, you're
what
probably not
six
going to.
endings.
But five,
So
yeah.
five
Um,
endings. Yeah.
but yeah. So it opens with her escaping this like captive carriage thing, right? And pretty much right off the bat, she finds some people to or some bugs to talk to, and almost immediately it gives you your end goal, which is climb to the peak of the citadel or something to that effect. And what's also interesting, and this does make sense considering how she was in the first, Hornet does speak, whereas the Knight did not. It actually threw me off at first. When I was first talking to the one bug, now obviously there's no voiceover, it's just they
Right.
make their little clips and
They
squeaks and
speak their
stuff.
little Simlish
Yeah,
Zelda
yeah,
language.
right. But I noticed like there was the first bug you talked to was female, and she was I don't remember what her name is, but she made the one squeak, and then I heard this other squeak, and I was like, that sounded different. And then also they're talking, and I realized it was Hornet talking, and I'm like, oh, that threw me off because again the Knight doesn't talk; he's completely mute. So I was like, oh, I did not actually expect that, but it makes sense because she does talk to you in Hollow Knight. But yeah, so you do have the goal right off the bat, but I imagine it's probably not going to be that simple. And so here's a little, just very early guess because I don't know how I didn't pick up on this before today. However, within 5 minutes of playing this game, you begin to notice the very strong uh, connection with weavers and thread and all that stuff. Which I mean, it makes sense. She uses like a needle.
Hmm.
I mean, Silksong being the name, right? I don't know how I didn't make this connection before this, but in the far left area of the map in Helleness, which is Hollow Knight 1. Um, there you have like the Weaver Village, which is what used to be like the Spider Village, but it's
Right.
empty. That they were not in the lore. They were not part of Hallownest. They just kind of lived there separately, but they had their own thing. They would like spin their silk, and it would keep like magic lore and stuff like that, right? Um, it never occurred to me. I'm like, oh, this is actually somehow a continuation, probably of why they left Hallownest and all that kind of stuff. I could be
Well,
completely wrong, but it's very clearly like spider related.
I think it very much is because despite her name being Hornet, one of the things that they explained is that she's the daughter of one
The
of the
Pale King.
dreamers.
The uh, uh, yeah, she should be the daughter of the Pale King and the White
Uh,
Lady. I think is the name.
was
The
that
Dream,
her? No,
the
the
Dreamers.
knight was was the son of both of them. She's the
Correct.
daughter of the Pale King and the arachnid dreamer lady,
Oh yeah, you're right. I'm sorry. You are right.
which is
Yes.
why she has the webbing that uses as a thread.
Yeah, yeah.
So she's actually not a hornet at all. She's more spider than
Mm,
anything. But I that's what I'm guessing is the reasoning behind it because it's
mm,
probably related to her family.
mm.
And then technically she's the queen now since
Well,
you
yeah,
have
yeah,
to
since
kill
they're
one of the
gone, yeah.
dreamers.
Right.
So that's going to be interesting to see how
Yeah.
that plays out. I played through enough of Hollow Knight that I figured out most of her deal before I got stuck at that one spot that just hated so much that I didn't want to keep going.
Do you remember what it
Um,
was? Just out of
oh
curiosity.
yeah, it was the multi boss. It was the husks that keep getting like repossessed, and
Oh,
then there's
the
like
Watcher Knights. Yeah, those
yes,
suck. Yeah, those
so
suck.
they're like there can be up to six of them, and no matter
Mm,
how fast I was to try to keep up, I
mm,
would just eventually not have enough space to dodge.
mm. Yeah, no,
Um,
I had a hell of a time with them too. You're not alone.
that's what I've heard is like a lot of people's difficulty, and I know that I'm pretty sure I did the other two first, and that was my last one, and I just could not keep up, and I would keep burning myself off trying to do it. So after that, I was like, all right, I'm just gonna stop. I'm getting myself too mad about this because there was parts of Hollow Knight that I really enjoyed. I love the atmosphere, the walking through it, the just the tactile feel of moving through that world,
Hmm.
and how crazy your powers could be while still not being like overpowered.
Hmm.
Um, but it was just so neat to experience that world for sure.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah,
I,
so that's all
I
my
mean,
thoughts.
just one more thing. I mean, in terms of what you just said about it
Yeah,
being such a good world, like I have always said, the City of Tears is maybe one of my favorite locations in all of gaming.
it's really cool.
Everything about it, it's beautiful. Its
Mhm.
ambience is amazing. When you find out why it's raining, which
Yes,
there's a
that's
big
really
lake
neat,
above it, that is such a cool little bit of lore. And
and it
like
makes
everything
perfect
about it,
sense.
just the whole design of it, it is, and it's so like melancholy to walk around that just absolutely empty outside of those that are crazy, obviously, city. I loved it so much.
Very much. I really appreciated what just the level of effort they did and how much work they could put into something despite it all being just hand drawn and parallaxing
Hmm.
that it tricks my brain and feels so much bigger than it
It
really is.
Hollow Nest feels like an actual place.
Hmm.
Like the way that everything interconnects intelligently, and you have like a sewer system, and you have your capital city, and you have a path to get there, and you have a tram system. It feels like a place. It's so incredible how they designed it.
And I guess one last thing, I don't know if it's spoilers for the original Hollow Knight or not, but the concept of the light being the evil thing, and the darkness being kind of like just the unequivocally good side. Um,
That's one way
it's
to put it. I don't know if I would
it's
refer to it that way, but
maybe not good, but it's like the only way to stop the
Mhm,
light from just permanently killing everybody
mhm,
and causing the worst of it all to
mhm.
happen. I don't even know which ending I think is actually good or better, or I know which one is the true ending, I think, but it's still very like, oh wow, this just all sucks. And there's not really much to go around, but even then, like the night always felt like kind of a was it a blank slate for the character, but
Mhm,
Hornet was always much more of a character,
mhm,
so I could
mhm.
see that really changing the dynamic
It,
for.
it it absolutely does. At least from what I've seen so far, it totally changes. Like, you're not just listening to somebody talk to you and you just kind of go off. Like Hornet interact every time you talk to somebody, Hornet says something. So she is an actual character now. She's not just a husk, which obviously the knight is
Right.
supposed to be. But you get my point. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
it's a very interesting change in dynamic. But what's also really cool, and I mean this is again still very very early, but all the different moves that she would do when you would fight her, you get to do those, at least as far as I can tell. Like I just got the ability to like throw the needle,
Hmm.
and she doesn't get like a straight down like pogo swing like the knight does, but she gets that little like angle down attack. So
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
like
yeah.
it actually feels like they pulled the boss
Some of
character
the
out
boss moves. Yeah.
and gave you that character to play as, which is
That's what I
really
think
cool.
a lot of people felt like was the draw in the first place because her move set was really interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Because she can pull herself along with throwing the needle and it
Mm-hmm.
pulls her.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was what I remember she would always do to like zip in and zip out of a cutscene,
Mm-hmm.
and like doing her little ruffle her cape and the threads go
Mm-hmm.
everywhere and
Mm-hmm.
stuff. So I'm sure it's really exciting how different
There's a
she
lot
plays.
of personality considering how simplistic and intentionally so her design is, you know?
Yeah. Um, Fantastic. All right. Well, yeah, I'm really excited and I can't wait to hear more of your thoughts on it as we go through it. Um, what are some of the other things that you've been playing? I know we kind of we got into some debates on some of these other games going on, but do you want to jump through any of your shorter ones before we get into those?
Well, I assume the one that we both have, we should probably save till last there.
Probably so.
Um, I could briefly, I don't have much to say about Hell is Us that I didn't say last week, but I can say a little bit about Kronos. Now, I haven't played it much because it only did come out
Yeah, I
yesterday
wanted to
in
get
early
your
access.
thoughts on this because a lot of people are comparing it to Dead Space. A lot of the shoot, what was the one that you said it? Calypso Protocol.
Oh, yes,
Um,
yes.
and how it's basically what that should have been.
Right.
I mean, I really like the giant hand cannon your character seems to be running around with. I'm guessing that's the starter plasma cutter.
It's just a pistol,
Like,
but yeah, that's correct. It's the first weapon you get. Um, as far as I can tell, I believe there's four weapons total. The pistol itself, which is called the sword, then the shotgun, which is called the hammer. I don't know where they came up with these names, but there's an assault rifle, which I don't have yet, and there is, I believe I heard there's a railgun, but I don't know if the railgun, I don't know what the name of the assault rifle or the railgun is. In terms of the pistol and the shotgun, though, the pistol itself actually morphs into the shotgun. I assume that's going to be the case with the other two, but I can't say for certain. But yes, so I was interested in this when they first showed it off, but I very, cautiously optimistic considering it was Bloober. I was like, okay, you nailed it with Silent Hill 2. You got to prove a little more to me before I, trust you fully. I'm a little more confident now this team has figured it out because, at the very least, in survival horror games, uh, yes, it is reminiscent of Dead Space. I would say it's probably a little more linear than Dead Space because Dead Space is a little, especially the remake, a little open and allows you to, kind of explore the issue more and stuff like that. This is kind of, for lack of a better term, like corridor focused. Um, and also, Dead Space will. I also understand I'm early here, so I'm talking from early game, but Dead Space, because you are pretty powerful, it throws a fair bit of enemies at you at one time. Here, you're not overly powerful, so far the most enemies I've faced at one time was like two or three, but two or three is overwhelming. Um, like as of the point that I've played it, this game is no joke. This game is tough. Um, I know when you finish it, there's like higher difficulties. I did not see a selection for easier or harder from the beginning, unless I somehow missed it. Um, but so I don't know how much you followed this or not, but the one of the like weapon or combat like specific things to this game is the enemies in this are like biomass for all intents and purposes, right? And I apologize if you can hear my dog; she's going kind of crazy. But okay, um, being biomass, you have to be careful when you fight a couple of enemies because if you kill them, they can absorb one that's on the ground. If it hasn't been like gibbed, for lack of a better
I
word, right?
remember that being in the marketing.
Yes, yes, it's actually true. I actually had like obviously the first time it happens, it's scripted, but I actually have had it happen in battle,
Hmm.
and you do not want that to happen because the merged enemies are significantly tougher. They do a lot more damage, they take a lot more damage, they move a lot faster, and they're much more aggressive. So the way that this works is pretty early in the game you get a torch they call it, right? It's a single use canister thing to shoot out this little blast of fire. And if you catch an enemy on fire while they're still alive, it'll do extra damage to them. But more importantly, when you have take let's say you're fighting in a room where there's like four enemies. You take two of them out and you try to get them both the dead ones with the torch, it will make sure they cannot merge with them anymore. Um,
Okay.
yeah, so there's actually a lot of strategy involved in how you do this because
Yeah.
by default you can only carry one canister of fuel flame, whatever they call it. I think I just upgraded to where you can carry two, but you do have to. So you'll get what do you call them, like dispensers. So you once you've used one, you can always get one back once you find a dispenser, but you can never get more than one out of the dispenser. And I tried to fake it by putting one in my storage. No, it knows you still have an
Clever.
active one and it
Clever.
won't let you take it. Um, but you can craft more, but they take a large number of resources to do. So it's not something you want to just waste, right?
Right.
So I do like that. It actually makes it you really have to think when you're fighting. You really want to take advantage of canisters in the environment because when they kill something, they do kind of like disintegrate it, so they can't merge with them. Um, and enemies take a fair bit of damage. You are pretty limited in your ammo by default, or I mean by design rather. Um, but so far it's never been like I didn't have enough ammo because obviously I've played enough survival horror games. I'm pretty good about being resourceful.
Right.
Um, but it's not like you can just go out and just Resident Evil 4 obviously gave you a fair bit depending how you played. You can't just kill everything willy nilly with no
Yeah.
regards to your
I
supplies.
think Resident Evil 2 was really good about like
Yeah,
you can't just kill every enemy, and there's
yeah.
still like a percentage chance that what you've killed will come back eventually.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I was trying to think of the name of the game that did the torch process, and it was Signalis. That was that
I did not
indie.
play that, so
Um, for anybody listening, that was a top-down sci-fi shooter, very like low poly vibes. Very fantastic game. I loved it. Played it on Game Pass, but that was another one where it was like you killed something, you ran off, and then like 30 minutes later you'd be coming back and there's a chance of whatever you killed coming back or whatever. Unless you use like a flare to burn it off. But those only like there's a certain amount in the entire game. And once they're out, you're kind of screwed
mm-hmm.
essentially. Um I had to put that game on lowest difficulty possible to actually finish it
That
because
that does sound difficult, no doubt
it
about it.
was very tricky. And
Hmm.
as you can imagine, it was like RE1 kind of controls and
Hmm.
um, great, very intentional use of any of that. But anyway, this is more talking about Chronos.
Hmm.
So yeah, I guess you would recommend that to anybody who really like the Silent Hills and the really more like unforgiving
Hmm.
horror shooter people.
Now, yes, now something to keep in mind on this. So I am playing it on a PS5 Pro. There is no proper Pro patch. So basically, what's happening here is it is running the standard
Oh,
PS5
it's doing
version,
that brute
and
force
and it's
thing.
brute forcing the extra power. Uh, I don't know necessarily how it performs on a standard PS5 and by extension a Series X. Or is it even on Xbox? I don't know if it is. It might not be. Um, I do know the PC version is a disaster right now. I guess it has all kind of frame rate issues no matter what your rig is, which is all it's optimization. It's not necessarily a case of you know not being up to snuff for it. Um, but one other thing I do want to say about it is it has such a very unique artistic design to it because it's in like I can't tell if it's like an alternate world or an alternate reality or whatever, but it's Poland because that's where Bloober Team is from, and it seems like the storyline, this plague thing that they had, started in, as far as I can tell, like 1981. So it's kind of got an old thing, but then it gets this crazy alternate dimension where there's floating buildings and stuff like that. But it is a really, really good looking game. Uh, like particularly in the artistic side, it really has that like Eastern Bloc, uh,
Mhm.
late, early '80s rather, look to it. That think like you're Pripyat, except not,
Yeah, right. Yeah. It's
not
like
that
you
obviously,
go into
but
Stalker in the past and you kick a butterfly, and then you come back to the
yeah,
future, and this is
yeah,
what happens.
yeah, exactly. And I mean, pretty much when you think, if you know what this game is, the first thing you think of is the design of the main character, who I think you were the one that mentioned it reminds
Yeah,
you of Yoko Taro, which I thought
yeah.
that as well because of his hat.
It's like this
Um,
weird little mouth thing, and
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Emil, if you don't know who that is, did you ever play Nier?
I did, but only I blanked out for a second. Only the one with all of the. Well, I was going to say the
Uh,
robots, but aren't they all
the
robots?
well, the second one they are, not the first
Automata.
one.
I
Yeah,
played
okay.
Automata. That's all.
Emil is technically in that, but he's like the super boss. Um, well, also he's like a traveling merchant, but Emil plays a pretty major character in the original game. But anyway, yeah, so it does look like kind of like that. But what's also kind of interesting, so your character is named the Traveler, and it's like Traveler ND3597 or something like that. It's her designation.
Oh yeah, because there's like multiple instances.
Yeah, I mean, I've not played far enough to know what's going on, but they seem like they're intentionally like almost robotic.
Mhm.
Um, and at first it's like, man, that's weird. Like she talks so monotone, but over time it's like it's actually kind of funny how like almost intentionally emotionally disconnected from everything happening she is when she's walking around essentially a destroyed Earth or Poland, or I don't know if it's all of the Earth or if it's just Poland, but um because they do time traveling or something like that, and that's where their title comes from. Um, but I will say, who I have no idea who the voice actress is, but she actually does do a really good job of like remaining very like nonchalant and very detached of emotion. And I actually grew pretty quickly to like that. I thought it was kind of an interesting approach. Like it's not like detached as in poor voice acting. It's like detached as in designed that way, and it's pretty fascinating when you play it. It's very bizarre compared to what you usually
Yeah, it's like a
usually play in a
definite.
survival horror game and someone's like screaming or whatever, and you don't have that here. But
Well, it's like an intentional choice after a
mhm,
while, and that's probably just to reach that level of consistency over the long hours of recording. I'm
mhm,
sure that's very difficult by itself, and probably tells you a lot more about the character than anything else.
mhm, mhm,
But yeah, it sounds like something that I would definitely want to check out one day because, as we've mentioned before, I'm much more of a horror with a gun kind
mhm,
of vibes than
mhm,
horror with melee.
mhm,
I don't know why. Just it was always a thing that's like I enjoy the vibe of trying to shoot the thing. It doesn't matter how like you can go from super scary to not scary at all, but give me a way to fight
Hmm.
Even if you give me 2 bullets, let me work with something. I
Right,
don't want to
right.
just go run and hide like Alien Isolation, even though they technically do have weapons. It's not really about that. Um, but yeah, like not your Outlasts, more like
Hmm.
this.
Hmm. Yeah, no, actually, I was. I mean, obviously not in the current release climate, but I was going to tell you to keep an eye on this game because this does seem like something that's a lot more up your alley than.
Definitely not in this climate, just
Yeah,
because of how many freaking things
that
are coming
that's
out. My
that's what I
gosh.
mean. There's just too much other shit coming out. And
But
actually,
like,
unfortunately, I think Bloober made a slight mistake. They probably should release this closer to Halloween. I think they released it
oh
at
my gosh, they would have
much too busy of a
crushed it.
time. But
Um,
I do wonder if they were trying to get ahead of Silent Hill F, and that's maybe why they did it.
I
I
fully understand that because
I
nobody's going to want to
think
go
they
play
would have been
this.
better off waiting till Halloween though, because I think it actually would have been a really good Halloween game.
Silent Hill is such a powerhouse of a name that they probably
Mm,
would have buried this, unfortunately. So yeah, I
yeah.
think that might have ended up being the right move, just to give them as much space as possible
Mm,
to try to get something out there. But yeah, it sounds like a really good time
hmm.
for the people wanting a really bad time.
Yeah.
As far as Hell is Us, you said you just had like a couple of things,
No,
not
no.
much more.
I said I really didn't have
Oh,
much
okay,
else to
cool.
say. I talked about it last week because I was on the episode with Alex and I had got my copy early, so I was able to give some early impressions. Not too much change there. Still
Yeah.
very good game. I don't know if you've seen reviews, but they have been pretty positive
A
through.
lot of people really liking it. I
It's a
love
very
the
different game, and that's why I think people dig it.
I like the concept behind it. It's a really interesting modern, literally modern
It's
setting
like a
for
detective story too. Like
yeah.
that's what people seem to really do. That's particularly what I like about it is it's like you've you're not pointed to where to go. You're supposed to listen to what's and if I mean if you miss it, you can look at it in your notepad,
Yeah.
but you still have to figure out where you're supposed to go based on what you've gathered from talking to people.
Hmm. Well, yeah, that it definitely that's another one that's like, oh, I could see that coming on PS Plus one day in like a year.
Hmm.
I'm looking forward to that. Or Deep Sale for Black Friday. Whoop, whoop.
Hmm.
But as far as before we get into our main one, I think let me jump through a couple of things here.
Sure.
Of course, I played the Helldivers 2 update. I got to play the massive one that's basically ripping off Gears of War. Um, I am kind of shocked at how good the vibes are because I was a little worried after they did the whole like, well, before I get into it, Rick, I'm assuming you don't really know the ins and outs of what's been going on with like
No,
the
no,
Helldivers.
I play. I mean, I have Helldivers too, but I have not played it since probably April of last year. Like it's been a while.
Gotcha. Okay. So essentially, I'm sure you've heard at least that they had a big defend Super Earth kind of
Hmm.
situation, and I didn't think that there was anywhere that they could really go from that, just as far as like sheer hype.
Hmm.
And while that's technically probably still true, I will say I'm surprised and impressed that they can still hold everybody's interest by now going with the, well, let's just like throw stuff at the wall and see what we can do to like add some variety in here. Of course, we're going to add cities to all of the other factions now. That'll really change things up. Um, but the most recent one now is essentially we've gotten to the Terminid home world. We're going to go underground and use everything that you've got. But keep in mind, when you do go underground, you have no access to stratagems or calling in anything, including reinforcements.
I have a question
Uh,
already.
yes.
So these underground, is this extensions of existing maps or are they all new maps that you start underground? Like how is this
Well,
set up?
so essentially, I actually tested that out. As the lower difficulty, the part that is underground is a smaller portion of the map,
Okay.
where parts of it, it's already pretty unique because that region has what's called the gloom effect, and it already has like this weird, like orange fog. It's got like strange outcroppings and stuff already. But on top of that, now it's like there is a space that is essentially considered a hive that
Okay.
it is technically like above ground looking, but it's more like built in. Like there is an outcropping that has holes sticking out of it, like very natural rock foundation kind of look to it.
That was in the older maps, right? Am I thinking of the correct thing? It looks like a big like almost beehive sticking out of the ground, or is this
Um,
something different?
it looks like that, except all of those still had like an open top.
Okay.
Essentially, these are fully closed in with like
Okay.
fissures along the top or holes here and there. So it's like very intentionally built, as you can tell. So there's spaces where you can find where you can like, all right, let's restock, let's drop something in. Our buddy died back there, let's bring him back. But really, it's like once you go in there, you're committing to only having what's on you. Also, it's far darker, uh, where you have to use your flashlight
Hmm.
in a lot of spaces. A few things are like bioluminescent because you kind of make it a little fair, you know.
Hmm.
But there are some spots within that that are like especially deep where you are seeing almost nothing, and unless the bug glows, you will not see it. And
Wow.
that is terrifying because some of them
Hmm.
can jump like 50 to 100 feet at you if you're not looking. So you're going in, it's really changed the dynamic because what people are used to is having easy access to the sky and calling
Right.
in whatever they want.
Right.
At the worst, there'll be like the bots have jammers that stop you from calling in certain things, or anti-air, so you can't call in your eagle. But you've always had something that you can work with.
Hmm.
This time, it's like you can't even call in your gun.
Yeah,
You have
I heard you
to.
say that before. I specifically like that. That's a cool twist because you would just obviously unload your clip and just not care. You just call the next one. That makes you kind of approach this a little different from the sounds of things.
Absolutely. So all of a sudden, the meta has changed with those specific missions. You have to call in certain things. The mechs now are extremely invaluable because you have like more survivability and heavier guns that you can have with you in there that you've called down before you walk in. And it gets really tense. I got to play a couple of them today when I was on break, and it was insane. I was actually really loving it. And but what's also interesting is there's some areas that are like bridges to another zone that will not survive how heavy your mech is. So if you go out on it, it'll just collapse underneath you, and you lose access to that entire area. But then you have like jump packs and stuff. So there's a lot that you can really work with within that. The other one that people have been kind of talking about more for the memes is that there's like an oil rig protection mission now where it's just this massive truck that you have to drive through this region with like three big oiled rigs on the back of it. You have to like harvest stuff. A pelican comes in and snatches the fuel tanker, and then you got to get out there. It's crazy because it's really slow, it's hard, it gets caught on things, you cannot defend it by yourself. um,
Does
but there
somebody
is like,
actually drive this, or is it automated?
yes, you get
Okay.
to, one
Okay.
of you gets to drive it. There's an auto cannon up top that somebody gets to sit in, and then the rest is like you got to run alongside it because it doesn't move very fast.
Hmm.
It's very Gears of War 2, like those
Hmm.
big old suckers.
Hmm.
um,
The Derrigs, I think, is what they were
yeah.
called. Yeah.
Or like the mammoth from Halo 3, where it's like
Right.
actually
Right.
in the game. I really wish that those things had actually been in the game. But anyway, single player that is. But yeah, so you get to do that. It's really insane, very difficult, supposedly. I haven't tried it yet. And then the last thing is that they added in basically the giant worms from Dune. Um, that is pretty insane just because of how huge it is. It takes about what was it? A hellbomb to does 10,000 damage, and it like you still need a lot of them to
Hmm.
actually kill it. But supposedly people that are like really working together can do it, but it's really difficult, and it'll just absolutely throw you 1,000 feet in any direction or eat you. You know, one of the two. So it's crazy, and then it's just it's a lot of fun. I like to turn my brain off with it, and just reminds
Do
me
you
of.
just play it yourself, or do you play with randoms, or what do you
I
do?
usually play with randoms. What I like to do the most is I'll load up into like a specific faction and planet, and then you hit square to like
Hmm.
quick play within that. And that's a lot of fun because usually it's people that are really struggling or something, and especially now that the Xbox people are in there, I'll go
Hmm.
to like a lower difficulty and just either drop stuff off or run around and kind of handle things while they like flounder. But it's really fun to go through these situations and just you have everything that you need and you know what to do, and they're freaking out usually by that point
Hmm.
that they call you in. And it also cuts down on how long the missions are because usually a little bit of time has passed between them going in and then calling in the SOS beacon.
Hmm.
So it kind of keeps things a little faster for me
Hmm.
personally. But It's definitely the best when you have actual people with you, but
Hmm.
at the same time, that's a really good second place because I did go through a lot of solo diving, and it's fun for a while, but it does get a little bit annoying after a bit,
Mm,
where all you have is just you and only you to back up on. But yeah,
hmm.
a lot of fun. It was my 2024 game of the year, and I still hold to that for sure. Um, do you want to go into Lost Soul Aside together and kind of chat about that time? I don't know how
Sure.
long you've gotten.
I assume I'm probably further than you because I've actually put a good bit of time into it.
Definitely, because I
Okay.
only got past like the tutorial.
Oh yeah, yeah. I'm a good ways past that. Do you want me to start or would you like to?
Well, I guess I'll share my experience with
Sure.
it. Lost Soul Aside plays like you're watching a visualization of somebody who hates Final Fantasy summarize the plot. um where like I'm picturing like the parade and everything, and it's like, all right, so you're going to run through this hallway, and then you're going to go up an elevator, and you're going to run down another hallway. You're going to hear some gibberish from somebody that looks weird and underage talking to you like big brother, and then you're going to go into this other area. You look super edgy and cool. You're going to watch a kid get kicked through a box by a random enemy, and then you're going to do some
He
crazy
gets punted at
backflips.
that too. He
Oh my
gets
gosh, it was so
punted.
funny.
Yeah.
Then your character dives in with a double backflip and beats him up like a badass, and then you go to this other place and you have this beautiful CG cutscene that doesn't fit at all with the engine of what's going on, and then these two characters that you've never seen before do some crazy stuff, and then this one guy that looks like he's the emperor just stands there and aura farms for 10 minutes, and then that's about it, and then you get to these crazy superpowers, and then you do just nothing. um, so yeah, it was. I did not really enjoy my time with it, because
I can't really dispute what you just said because, I mean, first of all, and I think they have acknowledged this. The opening is very, very bad in that game.
yeah,
Um,
I really understand why their demo did not exist until the day before, and that it did not carry over because there's no way you could do a demo of that
mm,
early spot and not get so many people canceling their pre-orders.
mm. Um, Additionally, no dispute, the story is stupid.
Yeah,
The characters are bad. The world is annoying, but I mean, if you can manage to push through that opening an hour, I wouldn't say it's overly long, but then the combat really gets moving, and you go, okay, none of that even matters because this is really, really, really good combat.
that's what's
Um,
crazy. Like I've never seen more like half and half of literally everything about this game sucks, but the combat is so good that
mhm,
everybody is gaslighting themselves into thinking the rest of the game is actually good. Um, and like full respect, because I mean, it's a positive end point to that opinion. So it's like, hey, if you need to do what you need to do to enjoy yourself, go for it.
mhm.
But also, man,
I will say, I mean, this game kind of fits into a few different categories, but the main thing is it really is like a character action game, which is kind of the name of the genre that's been stood
right.
upon it. If you're going to have either good combat or a good story, if you're going to be a character action game, you should have the good combat, and they did get that part done. Um, so yeah, I'll let you give your thoughts, and then I will give mine because I do think we probably differ here a bit.
That's
But
probably about it, honestly.
okay,
Because I literally only got to the point where you actually get your powers. I don't even think I heard your buddy, what is his name?
Arena,
Arena.
yeah,
Um,
which is a
I don't
terrible
think
name.
I heard him actually speak. So the fact that y'all were talking about how much he talks, I was like, are you serious? He actually says things?
Yeah, it's once you start running around. That's it. If you just got the power, you still haven't anywhere. You haven't even gotten yet to where it gets good. Like even
Oh,
the combat gets
I
good.
fully acknowledge that I'm
Yeah,
not in a spot that's actually good at all.
the game gets good when you. It's actually not super long after where you are. I would say maybe another 15 minutes. Um, you leave like the capital city or whatever and go to the first main area, whatever. That's when it starts to get good, and when it really gets good is when you finish that next area and you get your second weapon, and this is when the combat opens. And as of now, I still only have the two weapons. I have the like one-handed sword and the great sword, and I mean, I'm just gonna say it. This is one of the best combat systems I've ever played in a character action game. Like,
That's what
like
I'm
it,
hearing a
it,
lot of.
it is up there alongside like Ninja Gaiden 1 and Devil May Cry 5. it's very different than it's much more Devil May Cry 5 than it is Ninja Gaiden, of course. But there is a like the way that you can mix and match abilities because you switch your attacks on the fly just by tapping the one button. Now, I do not know if when you have, let's say, three or four of them, I don't know if it's just a toggle back and forth, but you can still select any of them through a wheel. It's just by the press of R1, you immediately switch to another one. Again, I don't know if it cycles through them or if it's just a
I've
back and
seen
forth.
like the little, I guess it's a wheel, but there's something that appears right behind your character, I think.
If you Yeah, if you press and hold R1, a wheel of I think there's five weapon types in the game appears, and you use the left analog stick to select which one you want. But if you just tap it, uh, again, I mean, as of now, I still only have
I'm
two, so it
guessing
just
it just
cycles
kind of
back and
rotates
forth.
through them.
Yeah, that's what I
Yeah,
don't know if it rotates through them or if it just goes is like a
I
toggle
see what
back
you
and
mean.
forth. Um, but the game does have one of the better, actually, I will say, skill trees in terms of unlocking abilities and stuff like that. Like it gets to the point where you're like, man, I don't know what I want to use my points on because I want all of this. And I mean, very well, you may get ability to get all of it. It's just like, man, I really do want this move, but I also want this one. And the two weapons again, all I have as of right now, they do functions differently enough that like there's reasons to use both. Um, and when you progress a little bit further, you'll start to get different variations of them. Like for the great sword, I only have two as of now, but for the short sword, wherever they call it, I have four or five. And I was actually like, man, do I want like the fire one, the ice one, the light, whatever. Um, because in this game, and it doesn't talk about it almost at all at first, but elemental afflictions do happen. And actually, I haven't gone to the point yet where I have enough weapons to have multiple elemental afflictions that I can apply, but the different elemental afflictions do actually interact with each other. Like for example, if I think it said if you put the like frost affliction on somebody and then hit them with a lightning attack, it'll actually explode. Whereas if you have the lightning on and hit him with fire, it'll spread. And I mean, bear in mind, I might be wrong about this. It's just an example of what I'm saying. So like, there is some actual strategy of it, and the game does start to get very fast paced and very very hectic in battle. And I will say, I was like, man, I actually expected the combat to be good. This is way way better than what I thought it would be. Like
Clearly,
I'm absolutely not joking when I say it's one of the better character action game combat systems I've ever played.
I believe that for sure. And it's really interesting to see like the background of how the game came around. Because I mean, I think he said that he posted that original gameplay little blurb in 2016, and that's what went viral. But it was meant
I
to
don't think
just
I've
like
ever even seen that. I'll have to look that up sometime.
I saw it. Yeah, that was back on my Facebook days, and that's when it was like this new game was made by one man, and like how that goes.
Hmm.
Um, but man, it was one of those like, oh shoot, this actually looks really good. And of course, it
Hmm.
was like because he really liked Versus 13 as a
Hmm.
concept, wanted to make his own thing. Supposedly, it's like cost him his marriage or something,
Oh,
and
really?
he had to like redo the entire the process of building, excuse me, the game in 2020 in the midst of the pandemic, and it was like his whole goal though was to do like this is my ideal Final Fantasy game essentially.
Hmm.
I will say it makes me respect more like how difficult it is to make a good Final Fantasy game
Hmm.
because you can make the combat good, but if you don't have that world, you don't have the
Hmm.
people in it or the characters, all the rest of it falls flat. However,
They have a much
his
bigger
goal
team
was to
too.
make the best combat that you could possibly find. And it sounds
I
like he
have to say I
succeeded.
think he succeeded. Yeah, he probably needs to. I mean, I think the final team ended up being something like 30, so it was still a pretty small team when all is said and
Oh,
done.
for sure. It was
Um.
just I think it was right after he actually shared that thing. He got reached out to by a bunch of people and he picked
Hmm.
Sony
Hmm.
because he said, and I quote, I didn't want to make a mobile game. And
Well,
I
well,
was like,
if that doesn't make you want to support his game, I don't know what will. Yeah.
respect, because I was like, oh, this does feel like it could have been a mobile game that you
Yeah.
just threw onto something. So I was like, good for you holding out, man, and get going
Hmm.
for an actual release.
And
um
also considering China, I mean,
oh
that
my
is
gosh,
that
yeah.
like the allure for a mobile game there is way more than anywhere else.
It still shocks me, and like I can't wrap my head around how different like the interest and focus is.
Hmm.
Like mobile gaming has such a different connotation out there, and you can make it only for China, and it would still make gangbusters
Hmm.
money.
Hmm.
That just shocks me. But yeah, so just the fact that this game exists is a miracle. And I want to celebrate those just as much as I want to celebrate the Expedition 33s. And
Hmm.
where I think one of those knocked it out of the park and the other one fell flat, it doesn't really matter as much as I want them both to succeed for essentially the same reason.
Hmm.
And I'm really glad it exists, even if it doesn't appeal to me right now, just because of the other game that came out like right at the same day.
It did not come out at a good time. I will
Not at
not
all.
disagree with that at all. It is going up against some truly like top quality. I mean, I just obviously waxed poetic about Silksong for how long, and Metal Gear, and Hell Is Us, and what you're going to talk about shortly, and Chronos, and all that. Like, this was not a good time to release a game that was anything short of absolutely brilliant. And as much as I do like it, and I want to emphasize, I'm very, very happy with this game. It is not absolutely brilliant. Like, there's just no way, no way to pretend that it is. So,
No, but I think that's the like the truth lies right in that in between, because the internet tries to tell you it has to be the greatest thing you've ever
mm,
seen or the worst thing.
if it's not a 10, it's a 0. Yep.
Yeah. But I think that there's absolutely like there's a lesson that so many more people can learn from this, not just from like the background and stuff, but just watching the implementation of it. And God willing, we see somebody in a really good dev position going, hey, let's kind of like work with that and find a
Mm,
really good mechanic for what we're doing. And just please God, let there be more character action games on console. What the heck,
mm.
guys? But in any case, yeah, glad it exists. Before I talked about my thing, did you want to gush about Metal Gear?
Uh, Again, not too much I have to say there. Just I've pushed through past the end fight yesterday, which to this day I
Not to
still
be
might be.
confused with the actual final fight of the
Yeah,
game, but
yeah, yeah,
it's
yeah. No, no,
the
I meant the
end.
fight against the end. Um, to this day, I still think that might be the greatest boss fight in gaming history.
It is
I,
actually insane. There's
I
nobody else that can pull off what Kojima does and not fall flat. And
the fact that there's like 10 different ways to actually fight him is
dude,
insane. It like, did you ever play the actual like the old Subsistence, whether it be in the HD version or the PS2 version of it?
I would have done the HD on 360.
Okay, well, I mean that still count.
Yeah, yeah.
So I don't know if you remember this. I think you had to finish the game first. In fact, I'm pretty sure you did. But if you finish the game, and this was only in the Assistance, not the original version of MGS3, and I hope it's in Delta, but I doubt it. You do unlock a boss rush, but more specifically in Subsistence, there's something called like Secret Duel or something like that, which is like alternate versions of the boss fights. Um,
Interesting.
I guess it actually works almost like a pantheon, if you like a, you don't just pick a boss fight, you go through them in order or whatever,
Right.
but they're all more difficult than the standard version. And I hope it's in this game, if in Delta, I mean, if nothing else, because I can't even tell you what I remember the difference is, but the version against the end in that is so unbelievably good because it is much, much more difficult. um I want to say like you can take like maybe 2 shots from a max before it takes you out.
Golly.
So like it is a genuinely like white knuckle intense sniper duel that way. And I mean it's already like that, but you do have a little bit of room to work with
Yep.
obviously in the main game. Whereas in the secret duel version, whatever it's called, like you don't have room for error. Like you have to do it well, and it's so good because it really does feel like this insane game of cat and mouse.
Considering the internet spoils everything and I haven't seen anything about it, I don't think so. However,
You haven't finished
there's
Delta yet, then I
always
take
something
it.
to find. What's that again?
You have not finished Delta yet.
I have. Um,
Well, it would be there if you had it, if it was there.
oh, okay, I see what you mean. Because like yeah, it immediately unlocked the Guy Fieri, the Guy Savage. Um,
Got Fieri.
I was like that popped up in my head, and I was like, no, I'm not going to say that. I was like, no, no, it's going to be much funnier. Um, yeah, you got the Guy Fieri mode. Um, and then the apes the ape escape
Snape
mode.
versus Monkey, yeah.
So yeah, it didn't show up there, so unfortunately not. But
Here's
I
hoping.
mean, I gotta just hype up every boss fight in general because I was thinking about it.
Some of the best ever. Yeah,
Oh,
absolutely some of the
absolutely.
best ever.
Every once in a while, I'm still kind of like not fond of the Pains fight because it seems really repetitive for me.
It is the weakest of the bunch, probably.
But like the fear being like you're in this hemmed in, really tight woods area,
I liked it
traps
better in this than I
everywhere.
did in the original game.
Oh yeah, because just the controls allow you to
Hmm.
really move at the full freedom that I think was intended.
Hmm.
And I loved how much fun that I could have with that. Even though I shared that one video clip of me absolutely breaking the AI by accident, where he just kept jumping from the same two branches
Oh
for
yeah, yeah, yeah. I was trying to remember
three
what video you're
minutes.
talking about. Yeah, I remember that.
Um, from there, of course, the end fight being amazing, where you can do like follow his footsteps with the thermals. You could just like follow him in general with that. You could wait him out. You can um, shoot him early, which I did for my second playthrough
Hmm.
because I didn't feel like doing that on extreme difficulty.
You
Um,
can let him die of old age, which is the
yep.
most Hideo Kojima thing that has ever
I
existed.
still can't believe it's real. Everybody talks about it like it's this big secret, but of course everybody knows it now. Um,
It is from a 21-year-old game, so.
it is. It's just very funny now that like so many people are now playing it for the first time,
Hmm.
and they're just like, "What is going on?" But I want to find somebody who like never played it and is finally going through like the entire game just to
Hmm.
see their reactions to stuff because just like how you would think that anybody who plays a lot of games just knows this stuff like the back of their hand, but there's always somebody that's going to have a new experience. And I'm really glad that this, for nothing else, is really bringing it into a new era of people able to play it. And I pray that at least, if nothing else, we get the main four like
God, so bad we need it.
redone in some way. I just want one to look like that and play like that.
I mean,
Um,
I know a lot of Metal Gear fans are going to jump down my throat on this one, but honestly, port Twin Snakes. Take out the Nintendo stuff because I understand obviously you can't do that for licensing. Switch it to like
I'm kind
Konami
of fine
figures
with
or
that.
something. But
I played.
I have no problem with Twin Snakes. There's only two bosses that were really ruined from it. One of them, unfortunately, was one of the really good ones. But everything else, I was like, I love Twin Snakes.
I will say
I
bring
just didn't
back
like
the
where I
old
had to play it.
music because the music got changed. I'm told. I never got to play Twin Snakes, but I did watch somebody play through the original emulated, and he grew up on Twin Snakes, so he would talk about a lot of
Mhm.
the differences. Um, and it's funny because he like preferred Twin Snakes at the time because he was just like, I'm so used to all of this stuff being in
Mhm.
different locations.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, I mean, just the fact that you were able to see that in such like an upresed version of it. But even when you weren't, I'm playing through the Master Collection, and it just I feel like all of a sudden I'm in the mid '90s. Like I cracked this sucker open from a blockbuster or something, and like it is insane how
Open your can of Surge.
yeah, exactly. um, Oh gosh, it's just an amazing series for sure, and I really want to see more people jump into it because just upgrading everything doesn't matter how long it takes. Just keep doing it, and then give us
Mhm.
Peace Walker and all the other stuff on the Master Collection too.
For
Give us
God's sakes,
four,
give us four out somewhere other than
put
PS3,
put
please.
four on modern consoles, please. Ah, I can't believe it's a thing that all these years later we still can't actually play the series legally on modern
It is
consoles.
so insane.
But yeah, as far as three goes, though, I mean, it blows my mind how good it all looks.
Hmm.
Somebody said that Snake is canonically 29 in that game, and I'm like, that is not the face of a
That's
29-year-old
that's
man.
not correct either.
Get the hell out of here.
He's in his 30s, I think. I think.
Yeah, I was like, there's no way. But
Somewhere in one of the timelines it has his birthday, and I want to say it's in like the early 30s.
oh, for sure. They might have even touched on it in three. They talk so much about his backstory.
Hmm.
And that's another thing. Like, I wish there was more supplemental material to
No,
like
actually, I'm sorry,
show.
not to cut you off. Sorry.
No, no, you're good.
He would have to be in his 40s because this is going to get some real nerdy Metal Gearness
Okay,
right
good.
here, right?
Let's hear it.
Okay, so Les Enfants Terribles happened in the late 70s. I want to say 75 or 76, something like that. Um,
72.
okay? Well,
I
if
think
you remember, uh,
it was the last thing that was shown at the end of three when it does the time,
mhm, mhm.
and
And then they moved it
I'm
in
gonna have to
five
look
because
that
the
up too
timeline's
now.
different. In Metal Gear Solid 1, Liquid Snake says Big Boss was in his 50s when they had the project. So he would have had to have been born in the 20s.
Interesting. Okay, because the first thing that I'm looking up right now,
So he actually would be like
well,
40
there
something.
were two things. One is Big Boss's age retcon question mark, and the second
Oh,
is
okay, well, that could be too.
his age in MGS3 was 29 because he was born in 1935. And it's set in 64. So, but he was supposed to be in his 40s. Liquid said Big Boss was in his 50s when they
Yeah,
created his copies. So if he has to stay as born in 35, they had to retcon what his age actually was. So he's much younger than he was supposed to be originally. And it would make sense if because he's modeled to be like a guy that looks like he's in his 40s.
right.
But then that reminds me, like, how old was Solid Snake in one? I think
In
he was
Metal
in
Gear
his
1 or in Metal Gear
30s.
Solid 1?
Metal Gear Solid one, excuse me.
I want to say, he was about 30 because he
Yeah,
was in like his mid 20s in Metal
he
Gear 1.
had much more of a youthful vibe in all
Yeah.
of his dialogue and stuff. So, but then of course he's like the
Or, you know
legendary
what?
and what?
Well, Metal Gear Solid 1 took place in 1995. I think the game came out in 98 and I thought it no, I'm sorry, it took place in like 2001.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So
2001.
he would be
Wait,
about
2005?
28.
Alejandro's backseat driving.
Okay,
um,
2005. Okay. I knew it was early 2000s.
all right, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so he would be 30 at that time
Okay,
because
yeah,
he was
that makes
born in
sense.
75 or whatever year it was.
Yeah, MGS2 is 2007, 2009. Of course, I'm trying to remember, like, it says the years on, like, the collection.
Hmm.
It's like, this is when the timeline of this happens. Of
Hmm.
course, now that I actually need it, it doesn't remember. Thank you, Alejandro, for being a disembodied
It,
Obi-Wan Kenobi.
it also shows you how far removed we are from the release of some of those games now.
Oh my gosh,
Since
right.
MGS4 was in the future and it took place in 2014, which is 11 years ago.
Yeah, that is a really weird feeling to
Yeah.
me. All of those, like, far off in the year of
Yeah.
2001. Um, oh my gosh, that's the funniest part of like the Jetsons, where they're like that was I think what he said 2001 or something. Um, 9 years separate Snake it from old Snake.
Yes, but
Yeah,
that's correct. It's not like he's supposed to age normally. He was supposed to rapidly age. That's why.
right. I'm still mad about it, but I accept it. I think it's
Well,
the
welcome to
mustache.
our Metal Gear TED Talk.
I know, right? Oh gosh, Metal Gear, Metal Gear. It's crazy. I want like a big statuette of Rex somewhere on my
Oh,
bookshelf eventually.
it exists. You can
They
get it.
do. I've seen there was a couple for only like 200 or something, and it's not like I
Hmm.
needed to move around or anything. So
Right.
one day when I have the money, boy, I'm gonna slap that sucker right up there. Um, oh, what a time. Anyway, Shagohod's design, speaking of which, not nearly as good as all the rest.
It's not a
In
Metal Gear,
hind,
so it shouldn't be.
it's not a Metal Gear, yeah, absolutely, but it is also really funny when you go into Granin's office and he not only has like the full final statuette of Rex, but
And
also
Ray.
the
Yeah.
and Ray, but he also has the Zone of the Enders
Yes.
Jahati behind
Yes.
him, and I was
Yes.
like, "Are you freaking serious? There's no way. There's no freaking
It
way,
should
dude."
have Anubis though. Anubis is a superior. What were they called? Virtual platforms or
I
whatever the
don't
hell
even
they were
remember
called.
what they called him in that, but
VSs. It was something
Zone of the
suit.
Enders, what a time.
I love those games, man.
I
But
played that way later when they did the remasters of those, and I was like, "Wait a minute, Kojima was part of this? Let me check this out." And I was like, "Oh shoot, this is
I
a very different kind of game."
I was one of the people that bought the Metal Gear Solid 2 demo and got a really good mech game with it.
Yep, I there's a lot of people like that. I knew you would be one of those.
Yep. I genuinely love Zone of the Enders, especially
Mm.
the second one.
Oh man, the second one I think is where they really hit their stride.
Hmm.
Because I remember playing both of them, and I don't remember nearly enough of it, so I have to go back one day.
Hmm.
I'm so glad they put the Jehuti arm in MGS5 though. That was really cool the way they did that.
I don't
Um,
remember that.
it is. You
Is,
know
is
what?
it is it one of the prosthetic arms you can make?
Yes. But I think it might have been in that like complete edition. Now that I think about it,
Well, I
but
have that now, but that is not where I originally played through it, so that could be why.
maybe. But all it did was you would fire a thing at somebody, and it would teleport them right in front of you for you to grapple.
Oh,
So
okay.
they could be like 100 feet away, and you just like, yeet, get over here.
Wow.
That was extremely immersion breaking, but I mean, so were wormholes, and that somehow still made it in there. So
Yeah.
whatever. Um, man, you can only imagine my complete and utter confusion when they had like those the material canisters underneath an overhang, and I was like, how the hell am I supposed to get that out of here? Who would have thought?
Mm.
His homeboy was Kojima was just going to be like, you know what? I'm going to invent wormholes in the '80s. Don't worry about it. Lord have mercy.
Yeah,
Of
real
course,
quick side note, I
yeah.
just want to say something. They had a possibly decent idea with Metal Gear Survive, and they screwed it up by putting the stupid ass zombies and putting it in an alternate dimension.
Oh man, I
Like,
mean,
like if they would have had something where you were playing as like the remnants of MSF, that actually could have been very
if
cool.
you had it, make it a survival game horde mode where there's like XOF and
Yes,
all the other people are
yes.
trying to shut you down. Just
Keep
say
it
like
within the lore, and
Big
that would have
Boss
been
is
really
off doing
cool.
his thing. You got to lock in, protect Mother
Yeah.
Base at all times. Go to this place. Go to this desert.
Mm-hmm.
Hell, reuse that. Lord have mercy. I'm choking on myself. Lord,
Damn it, Konami, you're killing the man.
it's big Konami trying to shut me down. Lord, I took a bite of one black olive and it was going to be the end of me.
We talked about Kojima too much. Konami's got to take us down.
Alejandro in all caps went Fox die. Shoot, they got to me. Oh Lord. So anyway, yeah, they had something really good. Like reuse all the assets. Hell, we don't even care. But like the fact that you had to like turn it into some kind of weird survival thing. I mean, even the fact that like they had you make your character in five at the start, and you were like, oh, I guess that's like the Metal Gear Online that they're just
Mm.
making you get out of the way. Man, how many people just tried to write that off too?
D-
um,
just out of
like,
curiosity,
yeah.
have you played Metal Gear Solid 5? I know it's a pain in the ass because you have to delete your save to do it. I don't know if you know that or not. You can't just start a new
Oh
game
yeah,
in
yeah,
that.
yeah. No, I
Um,
100%. I played a ton of it on my main account, and then I
hmm
deleted it finally after like doing the whole
hmm
searching it up and realizing, oh shoot, I have to sacrifice this. But I really wanted like a 100% like fresh
hmm
start.
It's the same actually. I did recently too. There actually is a lot more like hint as to what's going on than I noticed.
Absolutely,
I
it's
did
it's
not
crazy.
notice in the early game at least. You know how he has all the pictures in the helicopter.
Oh yeah,
The
yeah.
picture of the guy is there, but it's folded
Yep.
over so you can't see your character.
Uh-huh. You can't see it, or it's like blocked by a second picture or something.
It's
Um,
the edge is folded, but I think eventually they put a second picture on top of it.
That's right. Um, yeah, that one was it. Of course, like the fact that I'm pretty sure Kiefer Sutherland is voicing both
Well, that's what threw
characters.
to me right away that clearly Snake was the other one, but I
I
didn't quite pick up that you were the medic. I was trying to figure out who the heck you were.
I was not following it like at all. I'm trying to like I'm thinking back to 2015 right now. Of course, like 10 years from now. Of course, happy 10-year anniversary to Metal Gear Solid 5. But
Yeah, that would have been a couple days ago, huh?
just recently, and
Damn.
Metal Gear Solid 1 was a few days ago as well. I
Yeah, I
mentioned.
knew that one. I saw that.
Yeah, Monday. Alejandro said, "Crap or get off the pot, Alejandro. What are you doing here?" Um, anyway, he keeps throwing me off here.
He's our producer over there throwing us the
He's
info.
peanut gallery over here. And he can't stop us. So, yeah, but like all of the different things with Quiet and like actually listening to the audio
hmm
logs, actually hearing everybody's motivations for things. I still maintain that I think he should have spoken more as like
Absolutely, absolutely.
connecting tissue for all these characters. However, I will say I was really appreciative of how well the supporting cast played off each other.
hmm
I didn't expect
Miller and
how like
Ocelot in particular, yeah.
that was really the main one that I was surprised about was like, oh shoot, these guys freaking hate each other, but they're
hmm
really good in various ways. And then of course, like it almost makes it anticlimactic how it happens in Metal, like right before Metal Gear Solid One
hmm
with Kaz getting killed.
hmm
It almost makes me wish that I could like see some of that now, where
I,
I'm like,
I do wish that was a cutscene that was made to see what
yeah,
happened. But plus, I mean, it's obviously left semi up into interpretation, but it seems pretty clear that it was Ocelot that killed him. Whereas Metal Gear Solid One made it seem like it was Liquid that did it.
yeah, I did notice that part of it, but it
hmm
makes more sense because Liquid would have had to still be at the Shadow Moses
Right,
Island
right,
to be doing his thing,
right.
and it wouldn't really make sense for the timing. Um, But man, and then it's like in hindsight when you go back to MGS1, you're like, oh man, that is a very big character that is just told is now
Hmm.
dead.
Hmm.
And it has been for a long time. But I mean, between all of that stuff, but I think back now, there's recently this trend going around of people sharing the original trailers for each of the Metal Gear Solid games and how much of an art form just those are by themselves. Um,
I have always said with a Kojima game, if you don't watch the trailers, you didn't get the experience of the game because
mm,
watching his trailers is part of the experience.
there's something really interesting about it. I will say there's some that spoil maybe a little too
Yes,
much, like
yes,
Death
for sure.
Stranding 2. Not the first, well, shoot, even the first one, honestly, but that one I think went a little too far with some of it. But the first one and then all the Metal Gear games, like, don't even spoil anything close to it. If anything, you make like an incorrect assumption on what the plot actually is half the time,
Right, right.
especially for five. I think about the one that is scored by Nuclear. I don't remember the name of the guy that did it, but I have it saved on my phone. Um, just how crazy all of those inclusions of different cutscenes out of order, how it played this really tragic story of Big Boss trying to rebuild the MSF and just getting absolutely everybody murdered. Um,
I will say one thing though. I think he messed up because the internet's too good sometimes.
mm,
I don't know if you remember this.
Hit me.
I believe it was one of the very original Metal Gear Solid 5 shooters where at this point they weren't pretending it wasn't Metal Gear anymore like the original one.
Oh yeah, when they hit the
Um,
Phantom Pain.
right. I think the original one when they were officially confirming it with Metal Gear, they showed the doctor in the beginning. And I don't know if you remember this. Somebody pointed out like that doctor looks exactly like the I think he was Greek doctor who was saying he was going to do an actual head transplant or brain transplant or something like that. I think it was a head transplant. So everyone's like this is all like they actually thought that that guy maybe was a plant and not a real doctor and like this was all a marketing scheme. The guy's
Huh.
like no, it's not blah blah blah. But it's like Kojima picked a guy that looked exactly like him. Like not
I missed that.
there's no way it was a
Yeah.
a coincidence. Like he looked exactly like him. It's like this is clearly an attempt at
Mm,
showing this is not Big Boss. Plus, even in the original trailers, they used "The Man Who Sold the World" as the song, like they did in the game. And that is that I don't remember the exact details, but that song is about like somebody pretending to be someone that they're not.
I
And
see.
it's like, yeah, if you knew that picked up on the small details,
Okay.
he did tell you that the
So
main.
to me, that was like the man who sold the world for that part of it. The messaging was because Big Boss was still trying to act like he was a hero,
Mhm.
when in reality he had finally made the
Okay,
switch to
okay.
be a villain.
I get that. I get that.
And especially because of like the way the marketing was like, oh yeah, he's gonna get his people killed. He's going to finally turn. He's got the like the blood walking through the
Hmm.
hospital, of course, without context.
Hmm.
Um, and you're just like, what in the hell is going on here? But man, I have this world where like I wish so many alternate versions of the same game could exist,
Same, same.
where it was like I want the version that exists. I want the one where it was actually Big Boss. I want the one where we got like an ending. um
Yeah, yeah.
like, I'm not gonna let go of that, even if Kojima himself is like, yes, it is completed, and
I
I'm gonna
know it's
like, you
unlikely,
are
but man,
lying to me.
I hold out hope that that's what's taken so long for the collection Master Collection Volume 2 is that they're
Yeah.
actually going to finish that final mission. But because
Oh,
there was a lot of work done, it's not like
it was a
nothing was
lot. I
done with
mean,
that.
it's literally I watched it all. It's
The
the lip
cutscene was like
flaps
35% done, which is like
and all
the
of
hard work.
the now is was the gameplay actually finished, or was it just the cutscene that had to
I
be
don't
fully wrapped
remember
up?
if it showed gameplay or not. I'm sure our producer will chime in here and let us know.
Yeah. Well,
But
they said there was a very, very small amount of gameplay, including like the actual on rails shooting where you lost your color blindness, which was like just the fact that that came in as an actual story reasoning. Because like in Ground Zeroes when that launched, I was like, that's a really weird choice for you to lose your ability to see the color red when you're really injured. That seems strange. Um, and then sure enough, for that to be like the actual big comeuppance moment where the reason why Big Boss thinks Eli is dead is because he had gotten hurt, lost his ability to see red, and shoots Eli on accident with everything else going on. But it also sounds like it was an extremely complex sounding mission with like
It
a
was
new
supposed to have like
area,
your entire army like
everything
joining up
coming
together.
in.
Yeah.
That was another thing that always bugged me. That one mission where he's like, "I'm gonna need backup on this one," and then nothing changes. And I was like,
Yeah.
"There was more. There was
Yeah.
more."
But thank
Uh,
thank God we got the cutscene where Quiet dances in the rain. That was finished.
of course, that needed to be happened. Is very
Yeah.
important. I
Yeah.
actually, that's a good point where we were talking about people playing through the game. Her voice actress, fantastic person. She has her own YouTube channel. She plays through MGS5 and talks about like her experience being part of the
That's very
team.
cool. That's very cool.
It's really cool. Both because she's actually pretty decent at playing the game and she does some other stuff as well. But then one of the clips went famous. I think I might have even shared it in this group, but it was about like having the bottom of her feet scanned by Kojima.
Yes, you did. You did. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
okay. I was just like, oh man, of course we had to have that in there. But we can't have the ending of the game finished. And like the more you think about it, where you're like Konami over here, like please stop going over budget. Please making this game be delayed. We were supposed to put this out 2 years ago,
Yeah.
and he's just like, no, it's gonna be done when it's done. And we're like, we can't do that. There's like
Yeah,
this
I mean,
little
it
part of
really
me.
is hard. I mean, even though the internet does, it is hard to fault Konami too much. I mean, they eventually did have to sell the damn thing.
Right,
But
exactly. And another thing that everybody was trying to demonize them for was the removal of David Hayter to switch to Kiefer Sutherland, which was actually a Kojima choice.
hmm
I still think that was an absolutely stupid idea. I don't care that like because of the twist. Um, I still think like, hey, if these people could reconstruct an entire face, they can fix his vocal cords. It doesn't matter.
well,
Um,
he also voices the actual big boss anyway. But I
exactly.
argue
That's what
the
I'm saying.
voice does have to change eventually. So even though I love David Hayter, I didn't have an issue with that. I had an issue with the fact that he barely talked because that is a problem.
I haven't, yeah,
Like
for
that's
that,
not Big
because like
Boss, which
you
well, I mean
spend
it's
all
not
this
anyway. But
money on Kiefer Sutherland and then you don't have him say anything.
yeah, yeah.
Um, but then like on top of that, it's like I just don't like how David Hayter was treated outside
Yeah,
of
I
any
agree with
of
that
that.
too.
Like it
I agree
was
with
like a
that too.
very hateful boot. So one thing I really am giving Konami their flowers for is David Hayter is so prominently featured in every
hmm
piece of marketing.
hmm
And even like Lori Allen and the girl that played Eva, I'm blanking out on her name, but she was the one that played Ariel in The Little Mermaid.
Oh, I didn't know
Um,
that actually.
Oh yeah, that was actually a very recent thing. It was
Oh,
a
you're right. I do remember seeing that. Yes, because they
yeah,
kept it hidden who the voice actress
because
was.
she was
Yes,
being typecast in a lot of like
yes,
children's things, and she didn't
yes.
want to be associated with the the bomb shelter of a Metal Gear
The
game.
lady who spends the whole game with her jumpsuit unzipped.
Understandable
Yeah.
choice to not do, but it's also really cool to have them all talk about it like way later
Mm.
on down the line. But man, yeah, just Metal Gear Solid Delta, fantastic time. Now that we've gone through all of this, I'm going to share my time with Shinobi.
Yeah, that. What a segue.
I will say, I fully intended to talk for a while about Metal Gear. I don't really care. It's mostly just going to be me gushing about the concept of this 2D character action game. So anyway, I don't remember for sure, but I think Shinobi was a series that was like it's being revived. It's not like a new thing. Um,
The last game was on PS2, but it was not like last Joe Musashi, which is what you are
yeah, yeah,
here,
yeah.
was it was either in the Genesis or on the arcade. I forget which one happened last, but it's been
I
a
knew
long time.
even outside of like kind of hearing that that was the case, the fact that there's a character named Joe Musashi, I was like, that is the
Right.
most 90s or
It
2000s
is.
name
It
I've
is.
ever heard. And I love that concept. But yeah, just like the fact that it's entirely 2D hand drawn animation. You just watching this guy, the ruffles of his like karate gi, the movements, everything is so responsive. From the fact that I think you already have like some kind of double jump and some kind of dodge and dash move. Like they just cut all of that out. It's like you're already going to be able to do most of this stuff. You're going to do the same amount of damage that you do at the start of the game as the end of the game, unless you put like a little metal into your loadout or whatever. And even those change things a lot. You have these ninja skills that do different things, various levels of like damage against armor, against human. Some you can only use in the air. Some of them will move your character, or some things will do things outside of it. There's one move that you can do that costs like 3 seconds of standing there still. So you have
Jesus.
to set up. But then when you launch it, it's like this shadow snake comes out of nowhere and just decimates whatever's on the side of you if you can time it just right. I did not use it very often because I wasn't very good at it. But there is so much going on in this game that I kept getting shocked was like continuing to build it up because it's not a Metroidvania. It's an
Mhm.
old school Castlevania that has actual levels. So you don't
Mhm.
waste your time with this massive world that you have to like run across to fast travel to this other thing. It's
You
very
can
well
backtrack
paced.
though, correct?
Yes,
Okay,
you
that's what
can
I
go
thought.
back to any previous level. It's like a full linear setup. It has this region, and it'll open up like two or three that you can attack in any like order that you want. They're
Hmm.
all very different, so it doesn't require you to like only do this one stationary region. One of them's on a speeding train. So like you start at the back, you work your way to the front. Some of them are like inside this massive monster, and so there's like teeth and everything everywhere. There's some that's like on the side of a dock, and you can see like the ships in the background like disappearing into the horizon essentially. But it's like to a level that I can't even comprehend. There's even these in between those like two or three that they unlock. There's like a bonus level that tries to like, all right, try to make it as far as you can. If you get far enough, you'll get this extra upgrade. Um, but if you lose it, it doesn't actually like cost against you. But the first one is like you're riding your ninja dog, but like as you're going, you can see this massive monster creature like passing way in the background. It's like shadowy and stuff. As you're running faster, the second time you're on like a hoverboard, and like this burning city is behind you. And there's one point, I don't want to spoil any of the stuff, but like there's some crazy stuff going on in the background. There's like a war happens at one point, and you're on the front lines like doing your thing, and like helicopters and jets are flying behind you, explosions are happening. It's just like it's this big, insanely cinematic game that feels so well paced. And even though there's some of the maps are bigger and you can really like lose yourself in it, um you can easily fast travel to these stones in between all of that. But then down into the actual combat of it all, I've never felt something this good. Where like I played through Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown, and it felt like there was so much to like keep track of which things you had to hold the button, you had to dodge, duck, and jump up in the air, and then you could hit the square button to do a special move. I feel like they somehow dialed this in so well where, excuse me, you hit a mix of your light attack and your heavy attack, and they do various things. If you do something like after a dodge, it does a new move that has its own stats and stuff like that. But it keeps it all moving so fast. Even on the final boss, I would juggle him like he was a starting enemy.
Hmm.
Of course, he has his own ways to like teleport out of it, and then you kind of reset. But that was part of the fun that I love, and that I always hate for a lot of character action games. Is they'll give you this ability to do all this cool stuff, and then they'll make every enemy
Hmm.
immune
Hmm.
to just about everything you can do, and it's like, what's the point?
Hmm.
Um, and this game absolutely did not find itself guilty of that. The gameplay that I even showed y'all, that was like a major boss character that you had to fight, and I was bouncing her around like she was a starting enemy, and it was fantastic. As long as you have the wherewithal to do exactly what you need to do to keep them in the air or hit them against the ground and bounce them back up, do another move that keeps them going, you just keep the fun rolling. And even now, like I've got so much stuff that I can go back and like find because you have abilities that you didn't have at the start of the game at the end. So now I can unlock new zones. There's optional like squad battles essentially, and if you unlock those, you get more passive abilities. And there's just a ton of stuff that you can keep doing. But I just feel like it didn't waste my time, and I had so much fun with it. Um,
Yeah, I have not played the full game yet. I have it ordered, but it's for the physical version, but it's
nice.
limited run game, so maybe by 2042 or so I'll be able to play it.
True.
But I did play the demo and I was like, wow, this like I played it even before you had said you liked it. I just wanted to check it out. And I was
Yeah.
like, oh yeah, there's something here. And when when the reviews for Ninja Gaiden Rage Bound, is that the name of it?
Yeah, yeah, that's it.
Okay, it came out. I was like, wow, this is really good. And I think most people that played both said that Shinobi was the one to really watch. And then
Yeah.
the reviews for Shinobi came out, and it's like, yeah, as good as Rage Bounds were, Shinobi's are much, much better.
It's
It's like
kind of
so
crazy.
it seemed pretty clear they had something special there.
Absolutely. And I'm so afraid that it's going to get buried into obscurity because of everything else coming out right now. And even coming out right alongside a new Ninja Gaiden side scrolling game.
Right.
So it's like, oh, guys, you tried so hard and you came out right next to this other
And
huge
and
name
then a
game.
Ninja Gaiden 4
And then
is
literally
is
Ninja Gaiden
what
4
a
comes
month
out.
from the day I think to go.
Yep. So I'm so afraid of that, but I really pray that this one, I don't even know if it's considered an indie game because of who made
It is
it or
published by
not.
Sega, so it's kind of hard
Yeah.
to do
But
that.
at the same time, man, let me give Sega its flowers right now because they
Absolutely,
are
absolutely.
killing it. Not only bringing out all of their old stuff for modern consoles and ability to play everything. Um, I'm trying to think. I keep thinking of Capcom games, of course, not Sega stuff. But I mean, there's so much Sega in love going around right now,
Mhm.
and I really
Well,
appreciate
Yakuza
what
is
they did.
probably the biggest thing right now for Sega Love,
Yeah.
and then Sonic's kind of making a resurgence, which is good.
Sonic making its actually really good racing game supposedly, and
Hmm.
all of its other stuff going on. I
Yeah,
mean,
that
even
comes out in
their
another week or so, I think.
I'm pretty sure, yeah,
It's
it's
this
looking
month.
really
It's
soon.
definitely this month, but
And then with everything else going on, I mean, shoot, they're I honestly hope that they keep making new stuff now because I miss the boat on a lot of what Sega used to make. Because I was Sega was like the edgy one, and then we would play Nintendo stuff, and that was like the kid friendly thing. But uh, man, I kind of wish that I did, and now I'm glad that I'm potentially going to get to play more of that. But yeah, that's pretty much
yeah,
everything. Is just needed to gush briefly about Shinobi and how
no,
good that game actually
everything
was.
I've seen, that game deserves getting gushed about.
For sure.
Just a small thing, because I actually don't know if you know this. I don't know if I've ever talked about it in our chat. I am an enormous Sonic fanboy. Like
Really?
oh, huge. I uh I was a Sega kid growing up. I did not even touch a Nintendo system until I think the GameCube. I didn't have an NES, and then my dad actually told me he considered getting an SNES, but since it was so much more expensive and the games were all like freaking $92
Right.
in 1993 or whatever year it was, he's like, yeah, I went with the Sega Genesis, and I was a huge Sonic fanboy. I will say to this day that here we go. I'm gonna bring the hate. Sonic 3 and Sonic Knuckles, best 2D platformer of all time. And people can fight me and say Mario World all they want. I'll take Sonic 3 and Knuckles any day of the week.
All
But
right.
yeah,
All right.
I'm a huge Sonic fanboy. The times were getting a little dark for a while there. There's no disputing that, but they're looking good now. I mean, Sonic's had a very, very good last few years. So, hope still alive,
He's
baby.
been crushing it, and I was like I'm the pure opposite where I have like almost no
Hmm.
experience with Sonic at all. Um, I think I want to keep it that way for the most part. But
It's fine.
however, if there's a really good Sonic game that comes out, I'm gonna probably like keep an eye on it and maybe try it out because like I
I mean,
like
it might not be a good time now, but genuinely, take a look at Sonic Generations X Shadow. Like
yeah
that is a genuinely awesome platformer.
that's one that's like whenever it's like on that deep sale or something,
Mm,
maybe one day. Actually, no, I think
it came out
Alejandro
about a year
owns it.
ago, so I mean, I would expect it to
I'll
probably be in
ask
a deep sale.
Alejandro really nicely, and maybe he'll let me play it one day. But
I'll say he
um,
might have it.
I he definitely does. I'm pretty
Okay.
sure. I don't want to. I think out of like pride, I've been like, I don't want to touch this. I don't want to do it because like all you hear is like Sonic Frontiers and Sonic Forces and all of the stuff that's
Frontiers is good. Forces is not.
I didn't like the presentation of Frontiers, but I feel
I
like
agree.
the
I
heart
agree.
is there.
Yeah.
It's just, not where my heart was at the time.
Hmm.
But I really like the concept, you know what I mean?
Hmm.
It was just something that I'd like never got into at the time.
Hmm. I
And the
get it.
people that are really into it really put me off on wanting to get into it. Alejandro can tell you
Yeah, I
we've
choose
got
not to
a
associate
mutual
with those
friend
people.
that was really into it and kind of stopped me from wanting to be into it. But I mean, now you got your Undertales and your Delta Runes and that crowd. They've kind of moved on now.
Yeah.
Um, But anyway, I definitely want us to wrap up so we can
Yep, no problem.
you can get on to Silksong if you haven't been playing the whole time while we're recording anyway. Um,
I wasn't know.
I will say I'm guilty of it once. I was playing, I think, Zelda while Joe and Alejandro yapped for like 3 hours. It was
By
hilarious.
yaps, were they squabbling?
I'm not actually sure if I remember what it was. I zoned
Because
out,
you
but
weren't paying attention, yeah.
Yakuza once mentioned, I will say that. And then at one point, my Switch like briefly broke into this, and Alejandro later was like, "Paul, you son of a gun, you were playing Switch." And I was like, "Yep, you got me." Y'all went for like 4 hours. Um,
Yeah, I actually considered doing it almost as a joke, but not really playing it, just kind of having it rolling here.
as
But
long as you can hold the conversation,
I
I will
I
give
cannot.
no
That's the problem.
judgment.
I can't do it. Like if
You
I have to
know,
look at my phone to see what's going on in the living room, it usually
for a
breaks my
game like that,
concentration.
that's probably difficult.
Oh yeah.
But anyway, let's go through the releases for September 7th through the 13th this year. We've got Bubsy In, The Perfect Connection, The Perfect Collection. PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and S, Switch, and PC on September 9th. Garfield Kart 2, All You Can Drift, PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and S, Switch, and PC on September 10th. Karma, The Dark World, Xbox Series X and S on September 10th. Katanons on PC September 10th, Shape of Dreams PC September 10th, and Borderlands 4 wrapping it up on PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and S, and PC on September 12th. Were you a Borderlands guy?
Not at all. I played the original one. I mean, I played the first two, but I played the original one like right off
Yeah.
the bat, and I liked it. But I was like, this isn't my thing. Like, I'm
You,
not big into Diablo and stuff like that. Just those like
yeah.
random drop type of things. That's just not really my thing.
I dropped off after a while, but
Hmm.
I will say I was really into it for one and two. Did not like the pre-sequel. Did not like three.
I will
So
tell you, there's one game on this list that I plan to get. Can you guess what it is?
oh, it's Bubsy.
It is Bubsy. That is
Of course,
correct.
it's Bubsy.
I love, yes, Bubsy 3D sucks. All right, I understand. Bubsy 1 and 2 legitimately were good platformers back on the Genesis, and I don't
Of
know,
course, as another
3DO.
one
I
that
don't even
like
remember, I don't
I
remember what they originally
completely
on.
missed the gate on, but I've been watching a few people like actually playing that, and that is some insane speed
Th-
tech.
They were hard as hell, if I remember correctly. And also,
I believe it.
I don't remember. I think it was the first one had one of the best subtitles of all time. Claw's Encounter of the Furred Kind.
Oh, it was that era. It
It was,
was.
it was,
It was a different era.
but you didn't have that kind of thing all the time. Like you get it a lot more commonly now than what you had back then. So it was kind of clever at the
Yeah.
time.
It was like in an earnest way. It was like, oh yes. It's like that Ratchet and
It was
Clank vibe.
intentionally a stupid joke. Like that was
Yes.
the point, you know?
It was a different era,
Yeah.
man. What a time. But yeah, all right, Rick, where can they find you?
Butch4969 on all the socials. Well, I shouldn't say all. Twitter,
Hmm.
but also it's youtube.com// spreading the nerd. We have our 50th episode coming up. I thought it was going to be tomorrow, but it sounds like it might be delayed because we're trying to get kind of some specialness going on, and neither one of us really had time to get it done. So maybe next Friday. We usually do it Fridays at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But take a look. Hoping to have some guest appearances and some insanity. Where Clint, who spent the last 2 years telling Silken and me that he had no interest in Hollow Knight, has been jacking me off all day while I was at work when he was playing Silksong because he's an evil son of a bitch. But he's my
Uh,
dude. I'm a big fan.
Fantastic. All right, and as always, y'all can find me at Dorkavard on Twitter. I've been actually posting some gameplay every once in a while because Discord is mean and they won't let me post anything over 100 megabytes without paying for crazy subscriptions. So that means I'm posting funny things and cool things, including me just feeling like a badass in Shinobi. All right, Rick, this has been fantastic. We've had a crap ton of fun together. I hope we can do it again soon, that they'll let me
Absolutely.
climb the stairwell as they're about to kick me off of it one more time for the next couple of weeks. And I say that like I'm not the one being the problem. It's, but I'd like to blame other people for my own issues.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I'm an American, damn it.
That's what I was gonna say. We're Americans. That's what we do.
Oh, Lord have mercy. All right. Thank you all so much for joining us. We've had a lot of fun here. I hope you had a bit of an escape today. And lastly, but not least, Press X. Rick, will you close me out?
To play.
Good night, everybody.
See you guys.